love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustler, you broke, well that seems tragic. Gotta catch in the field like deep passes. I tell her plug if it's sticky, then please bag it. I need the best cause I grew up beneath madness. Need a matte burgundy mercy. Jewelry so heavy it might hurt me. Smoking extra kill, that extra seal. Whoa, Buffalo money need extra bills till I'm eating so much.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Sterls, and it's Tuesday night. And I am here with you right here on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast feed on the Chop Up. Happy Tuesday to you all. You know, it's one of those days where we, there's been a lot of opinions, a lot of feelings going on within the Buffalo Bills community. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to get into all that. I want to talk about Sean McDermott. He's a big point of contention amongst Bills fans and myself, to be honest. Kind of maybe what's the direction here? Do we really feel like a move this offseason could be made? I don't know. I think we need to talk about it, right? Maybe put some realistic expectations out there, but also be real and recognize that it ain't been working lately. And I think there's reasons to put the trust the process Kool-Aid down for a minute. And I preface that by saying it's okay to criticize the team, but doesn't mean you hate your squad, right? It doesn't mean that, you're a fair weather fan but I think we're at a point where we need criticism. We're going to talk about Josh Allen tonight. Some thoughts on him. And just kind of exhale just a bit. I don't know how you guys are feeling right now. Sunday night, man, it was fun. It was fun. Watching the game was fun. And I don't know if I'm over it yet. Watching the all 22, you come away, man, and you're like, dang, we had it. We were right there. And we couldn't get it done. Rich Rush says, where's All Pro? Oh, he'll be in. What's up, Steph? How you doing? But regardless, who's here, who's not here, it's your boy. I got you tonight. All right. Thanksgiving. We really didn't Sunday after the game. We didn't talk about Thanksgiving. But how was your Thanksgiving out there? Did you enjoy spending time with your family? Did you enjoy your turkey, your ham? I didn't do a ham this year. I did a deep fried turkey, which was phenomenal. And I'll tell you this right now. The turkey that I prepared brined for 48 hours. Oh my God. I'm telling you right now, it was phenomenal. It was so good, so juicy. I even had some for lunch today. So I don't know if it's some of you out there are turkey leftover people like myself. There's others out there who are just like, nah, I'm gonna throw it away after a day or so. Nah, man, I eat that for a whole week. But without further ado, let's jump into this thing. So, Tuesday's game, man, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm not gonna lie. Sour taste in my mouth, man. Again, the game was within their grasp. You had Josh Allen wheeling and dealing. He's working it, man. He's working it. Like, that's Josh Allen's best performance this season. And one of the things I'm going to criticize Sean McDermott about is kneeling the ball. You're going to kneel the ball with 20 seconds left. You burned a timeout that you didn't need to burn. And then you say, you know what? We're just going to kneel this out so we can go in overtime. You know what I'm saying, Spence?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
I
feel
don't,
me?
because I ain't hear that first part or that last part, but I'm with you.
Kneeling the ball. Why?
Dude, I've been saying it and I've been trying to say it in different ways, but it's like when you got Josh Allen or you got a Ferrari, but you're driving them like a Toyota, or you have a, you know what I mean? Like why are we not putting Josh Allen in a position to be Josh? Like we've seen him do it. It ain't even like we got a quarterback that hasn't done it before. Like you've seen him.
Yeah. It's wild to me. I just don't.
It's the most frustrating thing because it's one of those things where you look at Sean McDermott and it's like, that the team, I still feel like this team, even with the injuries, we got the talent to be good enough to, we should have the division. We have that type of talent, even with the injuries. But then you have a head coach that rather than playing to win, he'll sit there and play to not lose. Right. And I know that sounds like the same thing. But it's really not.
It is. And I tweeted something out today, and I was talking about making a correlation between Brandon Staley and Sean McDermott. And I was giving Brandon Staley some kudos because basically he trusts his quarterback, Justin Herbert, more than Sean McDermott trusts his quarterback, Josh Allen. Whatever we feel like the success rate is and so forth, you have a head coach who says, you know what? My forte is defense. I'm going to let you do your thing. So I'm going to give you every opportunity. We're going to go for it on fourth down when we feel like it's reasonable. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But at least he puts the confidence in his quarterback when the chips are down. If Mahomes can make it down in 13 seconds, you mean to tell me Josh Allen can't do that in 20?
We've seen him do it again. Like you go back last year, go back almost a year to the date. Thanksgiving game when we played against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. We were backed up within our own 20. Had to get in field goal range to get Tyler Bass in field goal position. Guess what he did? Threw a dart to Stephon Diggs across the middle. Got up enough time to come on, man. We've seen Josh Allen. I can name 3 other games where he did that. Come on, man. We gotta stop playing. We gotta stop. I'm not even gonna say it. We gotta stop wasting the primes of these guys. Like Josh, this come on, man. Like this is the best. He's still got years to get better. He's gonna be like that. But come on, man. Diggs,
for a long time.
You wasting. Just annoying.
You know what's funny? It reminds me of a conversation you and I had earlier this offseason where we talked about the Bills being the Packers and wasting prime years of Josh Allen, just like the Green Bay Packers did with Aaron Rodgers, where he only got 1 Super Bowl title.
Yep.
That's 1, but they wasted a ton of years with Mike McCarthy.
And when you think about that, it's frustrating because it's like everybody talks about Aaron, maybe not now. Aaron Rodgers has completely killed his reputation by himself. But the way people used to talk about Aaron Rodgers before he got really involved on social media and on these podcasts and stuff, like, man, he was a GOAT, and they talked about him in a certain way that made you understand how special of a talent he was. So the fact that Devontae Adams turned out to be Devontae Adams, but they never went out and drafted a guy in the first round that they know. You know what I mean? Like next year, there's some receivers coming out. Go and get the guy. That you know. Now, granted, we can't get a top 3, top 5 pick. I know we're not going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I know that. But there's enough guys this year coming out in the draft that this dude is like that. Right?
Oh, yeah. I could rattle off 7, 8 guys that are first, second round talents right now. And it's like, what are they going to do? So on one note, it's like, okay, if the Bills make the playoffs, I think Sean McDermott's job is safe. However, if they miss the playoffs, I think the seat gets hotter, but I have a feeling that they're going to carry him into next season. And if he screws up next season, which he probably won't, I think this is a one-off year, but he's still the problem. I think we're stuck with Sean McDermott, unfortunately. I'm on the fire him train. Like he got to go.
Well, I was mad after the game. So my tweets, they go to flying. I say some wild stuff.
Well, did you say some stuff?
I said some wild stuff. They went flying. I probably should have delete. I should probably go back now and delete, like clean up the timeline a little bit. But the thing is,
hold on, but be careful about what you're about to say, because if I swear to God, if you come off we need to keep McDermott, me and you gonna have problems. Okay,
no, you ain't even got to worry about that, because I'm at the point now where I'm like, I need a new voice. We need a new leader. I've been saying, for the last few weeks, I've been talking about how I feel like he's Mark Jackson and we need our Steve Kerr. So I'm not coming off of that, but
you need to explain that to the audience though, real quick.
Sorry?
Explain that, because you made a tweet months ago talking about Mark. Explain that to the listeners real quick.
Okay, so in the NBA, Mark Jackson was the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. He drafted Steph Curry. He drafted Clay, Draymond Green. They put this team together that you're seeing now, who won 4 or 5 championships. Mark Jackson was the architect of that team. They didn't win while he was the head coach. They fired him after a 50-win season, and in the NBA, a 50-win season is kind of is a good season. When you got 82 games, 84 games, when you win 50 plus games, that's a pretty good season. So this head coach got fired after a really good season, after drafting Steph Curry and Clay, and then Steve Kerr comes in and he unlocks the superstar potential in Steph Curry. And then all of a sudden the team is on the next level. They're winning championships. You got Kevin Durant wanting to come and play with Steph Curry, with an already amazing team. You got other superstars that's saying, nah, I want to join forces with them because they're doing it a certain way over there. It's time for us to have a new voice, an offensive voice that makes other superstars want to say, makes wide receivers want to say, you know what, I know I could get the bag this summer, but I'd rather go and play along Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen and really try to get this. Let's just shut this thing down and win 2-3 Super Bowls in a row. What up, all bro, Paul? I was trying to hold in for you while you was out.
My bad. My camera is a little foggy right now.
I'm loving the Fitz look. That's a dope look.
Yeah, I feel you. It was that or a random background.
But you make a good point about the Kerr thing. It makes you think about the locker room too, because for what McDermott preaches and discipline and trust the process and complimentary football and this is who we are, championship caliber. It's like we hear those things, but the results on the field, we're not getting them.
No,
and that's a problem.
It is a problem because I think it wouldn't be as much of a problem if you felt like we weren't regressing every year. But, because it's like I can deal with some mistakes here or there. I can deal with a game that you lose. Like last year, or was it the year before when we played the Titans and Josh Allen slipped on the QB sneak. It was like 2 years ago, I think. And he slipped on the QB sneak and we ended up losing that game. And okay, you can deal with that. Why? Because we're 14-3 for the year, or because we're 12-5 for the year, and that we're winning the division because we're not losing the games that we shouldn't. But when you lose against the Denver Broncos, when you lose against the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, when you lose against the Patriots, when you lose against, I get it, Jacksonville is a decent team this year. They're winning their division. They're probably going to win the division. The Buffalo Bills shouldn't lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know what I'm saying? When you have, and I get it, they've beat us every time. We haven't beat them. The one game in Buffalo, we lost 6-9 the one time. We lost another game. We just can't beat them for some reason. But this year, you shouldn't have lost to them.
Right.
So all of this, and then you fast forward or you rewind and you just go back and just look at it. 13 seconds happen. Okay, special teams coordinator gone. Then you say, okay, so this bad thing happened. We lose at home in the playoffs to the Bengals. All right, defensive coordinator gone. Okay, I don't like the way the offense is being ran. Let's try to really find him a job and get him out of here. Offensive coordinator's gone. You can't get rid of everybody, man. Like at some point, it's got to come down to McDermott. And McDermott has been the only one that's been a consistent. Now, I just had Eric Wood and Jerry and John Fina all tell me to relax. They all told me that Sean McDermott is a very good coach and the mistakes that have been made are not fireable offenses to this point. but he has to make the
Really?
playoffs. That's what they said to me. I don't.
Oh man, see, that's where I disagree. I feel like, first of all, the amount of money that was placed on these players in this franchise, Josh Allen making a bazillion dollars, right? The defensive line and the money you spent on the defense, like there comes higher expectations. If I'm an owner and if I'm shelling all this money, there's an expectation that I'm desiring. I'm not saying you have to win the Super Bowl, but there is no way in the ever living God that my football team should be 6-6 and losing games to the Patriots and others, the Broncos. Like, come on, man. That stuff that can't happen. It can't happen. It'd be one thing, and people talk about this, Spence, and tell me what you think about this. We talk about, oh, well, it's the injuries. But there are coaches out there who suffer injuries, but they get guys to play above what they're expected to do. They schematically get their players in position every single week to outperform what their ceiling is. Why can't we have that from Sean McDermott and this defense? Why does it always have to come down to they need everything to go right to beat the top teams?
The thing is, he used to. The thing is, the way the defense used to play, and even the offense, we made the playoffs one year with a roster that was like, oh, we're not going nowhere. That first year that he was here, they traded away everybody, and I don't know if everybody remembers, but they let everybody go, and it was a whole different thing. He got the most out of players. I don't know what it is now. I don't know if it's decision making. I don't know if it's that he overthinks things. I don't know if he depends too much on, whatever the analytics will say. I don't know. This guy, CJB.
Yeah,
33,
we need to address that one. We need to address
because he
that
also
one.
said in the comments here, just say it. He's saying, Spence, you have a Super Bowl or fired mentality. They're saying, what do you consider good results? Just winning a Super Bowl. They're coming off of a 13-3 season. Look, you can say that I have a Super Bowl or bust mentality. That's not where I'm at. My thing is, when you look at the direction that this team is going in, the team has regressed. You go back a couple years ago, we made it to the AFC Championship. Then we lose in a divisional round. Then you're losing. You can't keep going backwards and saying that you're still close. You got teams that's kind of going in front of you. We were supposed to be what people were saying the Bengals were. The Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. The Bengals made it back to the AFC Championship. You can't sit here and say that you're building a team, which the Buffalo Bills did. They built their roster to try and take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then guess what? You don't even make it back to the Kansas City Chiefs last year because you get beat down by the come on, man. That's not Super Bowl or bust. I've been one of the ones that's been getting yelled at because I'm saying there's other ways to measure success other than the Super Bowl. I've been saying that. You don't have to win the Super Bowl to be successful. You win the division. Guess what? Are we winning the division right now? We're not even in the position to say that we're going to make the playoffs.
And you know what's
you're
sad
sitting
about
here
that?
questioning me about you're saying that I'm Super Bowl or fired? Come on, man. We might not even make the damn playoffs, and you gonna question. Come on, man. We can't be that fan base that's gonna sit here and well, what he did last three. Come on, man. What are you doing this year? What are you doing?
And it's funny because, like, Gina, the Dolphins fan, and other Dolphins fans that we interact with, and it's like they talk shit about the Bills, and it's like I ain't got no reply. I can't say nothing.
What am I saying?
Yeah,
what am I saying?
Conversation over. and it's sad. It really is sad. And so this whole idea, and I'm not piling on CJB right here, but this is
all
the
love.
It's all love, but this is the reason why there's an issue in the fan base, is because people still have drought expectations. We are past the drought. If you want to be a championship caliber team, you have to conduct yourselves every day as such. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when we have that mentality as a fan base, we are still locked into the drought mentality, and it's got to stop. I'm tired of it, man.
Especially because we've seen what we can do. I've said this even about Josh. When Josh kind of has snarky comments about the fan base being upset about how the offense looked when Dorsey was here. And he's like, we got a lot of, all-pro offensive coordinators at home on the couch. Look, these guys can't take offense about They can't take offense about expectations that they've set. We know the offense should look a certain way because Josh Allen came out and showed us a certain type of offense. We know that this team should be beating teams that are inferior because we've seen them beat inferior teams for the last 5 years. So the expectation is something that they set, not us. So they got, you can't sit there and get mad that now there's a portion of the fan base that's like, oh no, the window is here and it's closing if you don't capitalize on it. Because I tell you what, I'm not even talking about whether he's happy or not. Stephon Diggs is not going to be young and elite forever. You get what I'm saying? He's not going to be young and elite forever. You got other players on this team that might not. Dawson Knox, when he comes back, that guy might not be elite or I don't even know if you want to consider him elite because I don't know the elite category. Do you?
Poe, what you got, Poe?
Or in regards to Dawson Knox, no, he's probably not elite.
It wasn't a diss.
I wouldn't say. No.
I wasn't dissing him.
He's a good tight end, solid tight end.
Solid.
Yeah,
he's solid.
Yeah. When he's right,
I think Dawson or Dalton Kincaid can get there though.
Dalton Kincaid is already better than him.
I mean, to elite.
Oh yeah,
he could
to
get
elite.
There. He could get there.
Yeah. Hey, All Pro, what's Dalton Kincaid's stats, real quick? Just asking for a friend.
I was waiting for it.
He's doing well. I wasn't expecting Dawson Knox to be hurt.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna pull them up for you and just tell you what they are. If you keep talking, speak your point because we haven't heard from you tonight. Before I start giving you shit, what's your thing, man?
In general, about the way that the team is going, I'm not as mad about that Philly loss after having it digress in my head for a while. I do think that because of the way the seasons went when we had Ken Dorsey, the losses that we had with Ken Dorsey, that loss hurts a lot more. But yeah, I do agree that whether or not we have Sean here or not, I think this team can win with or without Sean.
So are you vouching for Sean? Like you want him here or you want him gone?
I don't think it matters to the fact of winning. I think Sean can win here. I think we can win with a different coach. Maybe it'd be nice to get some fresh breath here, but I do think we can win with either way.
Real quick, bro, Poe, yo, technology set now. You good?
Yeah, my camera fell in the snow, so the fog was it's foggy on the camera. Yeah, the snow out here is crazy.
Well, I'm just asking. I'm gonna go ahead and dip out and let y'all do y'all thing again. I just wanted to fill in while you were gone. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep doing y'all thing.
Yeah. All right, bro. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I mean, because I respect your opinion a ton, and you're right. Like, I think it's kind of reminiscent of Marty Schottenheimer when he was with the Chargers, right? Like San Diego Chargers. And Marty, they were good enough to get to the playoffs a lot with Phillip Rivers, but they never could get over the hump. And I think we gotta be honest with ourselves here. Like, what is it gonna take for the Bills to get over the hump? And you can only place blame in so many places, but what are your thoughts on that?
I personally think the blame was placed well with Ken Dorsey. I do think that Ken Dorsey was a big part of why we're not where we want to be right now. This team could be 9-3 with the numbers that Joe has put forth. I don't know if a change at head coach is going to do more than the change at OC did for us this season. I do think losing Leslie Frazier, which I think was just Leslie's choice, probably hurt a little bit. It took away from Sean's ability to just kind of focus on the team and not the defense. I think the team could win as constructed. I think we're going to go on a run here and get to the playoffs. That's my personal opinion. But and then once we get to the playoffs, like, it's a whole different season. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, man, it's just, but I was saying before you got on, it's one of those things where my emotional disposition right now is I'm not trying to fire McDermott in season, but in the off season, I think it's time. But I know that the Bills aren't going to make that move. I feel like it's going to take, for them to hit rock bottom. I don't know if missing the playoffs is rock bottom, just because the baked in excuses. Just like last year when we lost to the Bengals, it was all this team, they suffer so many off the field adversity, blah 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 blah, which is totally fair. Like I'll ride with that one. But the excuse this year can't be you lost Daquan, you lost Matt. That's not enough. Teams face so much adversity during the season. That's not going to cut it for me.
But if this offense continues to do what it's doing the last 2 games under Joe, that's my thing. Is like if the team continues to do what it's doing under Joe, and then your defense actually start like we had a bad game as a defense. You could say it was a bad game as a defense in the fourth quarter and overtime last game. But if you take the entirety of the season with the pieces that have been missing, the defense has done a pretty good job. And so if you take Joe and he continues to be successful, that excuse for why this team isn't where it needs to be right now is going to be Ken Dorsey, which is a fact. It's less of an excuse than it is a fact. So like, if we get to the playoffs with this team, with the team that we have here, there's like it's more of an attribute to what Sean has done with the team. If you look at it from a national perspective, it's not going to be as much of a knock. People don't like what Sean does at the end of games, and I think that's fair. I think Sean he's gotten out chest moved at the end of games multiple times in a row. But if you take the entirety of what Sean has done with the team that he's had, with the injuries he's had, with the things that he has to deal with last year and the dilemmas, he's done a fairly good job dealing with all that stuff and still having a productive defense on the field. And the Ken Dorsey problem has been removed and the offense has been doing well since then. So the excuse is going to be the offense wasn't where it was supposed to be because of Ken Dorsey, which is also a fact.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So there's a question here that's on the screen. Matt says, who would I like to see the Bills add as head coach? And I'm going to tell you right now. I think you can go in-house, right, with our offensive coordinator. Okay, I think he'd be great. Joe Brady would, in my opinion, would be great. He's a young offensive mind who's proven from the college ranks in terms of his offensive acumen, right? He's shown the ability to connect with players. Like he coached Joe Burrow, and they all like speak highly of him.
Absolutely.
With Josh Allen, listen to Josh Allen talk about him, right? Like you could just see Josh Allen in 2 games looks like he looks like old Josh Allen, right? So I think he's a leading candidate. Here's some other names that I'll throw at you. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator, Detroit Lions. I think he'd be a great fit, offensive-minded head coach. I would even venture to say I would even go give Jim Harbaugh a call from University of Michigan, my school, my dogs. I give him a call. And before people knock Jim Harbaugh, let me tell you something. His team playing in the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick, okay? Everywhere Jim has gone, he's won. And he's gotten teams over the hump. What they say about Jim at San Diego State, oh, he can't win the big one. Okay. Well, he got them to a bowl game that they hadn't been to before. What did they say about him when he went to Stanford? Stanford, of all places. What did he do? Win the Pac-12. Went to New Year's Six Bowl. He did that. Michigan. Oh, he can't beat Ohio State. What has he done? He's kicked their ass 2-3 times now. So, like, all this Jim Harbaugh hate, like, nah, dude can coach. I would even say I would go, there's other names out there, but look at the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, Brian Johnson. I go take a look at him too. I mean, so I think there are guys out there who could come in and do this job. Now, all the names I mentioned are offensive-minded coaches. Right. I think to maximize Josh Allen's ability in this offense, you have to get an offensive mind in here.
Before Joe, when it was Ken Dorsey here, I would agree with that. I was on the Eric Bieniemy bandwagon. But I like Joe, and I like what he brings as offensive coordinator, and I don't want to bring in if we were going to go into the next year without a head coach, I would either want it to be Joe or a defensive minded head coach that wasn't Sean or even Sean, because I want to keep Joe as the coordinator, depending on how he finishes out the rest of the season. But what I've seen in the last 2 games is what I've wanted to see from Josh the entirety of the year. Like Josh has been competitive. And so like, I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if it matters who the coach is, as long as he's able to get that out of Josh. You can get that out of Josh if you're good with your players, you're energetic, you're focused, you're driven. And Joe has done that. And so I would like to see, if there was a change at head coach, I would probably want it to be Joe, even though he's super young.
For sure. He's my first choice.
Right. Even though he's super young and like people aren't going to agree with that, and then you could bring in a D coordinator, or just keep Sean, bring in a defensive coordinator next year, so Sean's not focused on defense, and then have Joe as your old coordinator. Those are the 2 options that I think would do best for the team. You don't always want, especially with a good quarterback, and if you have a good offensive coordinator, you don't always want to change the office all that much.
Yeah, I think, listen, if you're going to keep Sean, make Joe Brady the assistant head coach and give him a pay raise, right?
Absolutely.
You put, I think if I'm Terry Pagula, I need to hear Sean say a few things. And I need to hear him say this. What I've been doing has been successful to a point. Okay. But things need to change. And it starts with me. Okay. So I'll give you a little bit of my background. So I was in ministry right out of college. Okay. I was in ministry for years. And there's an adage that says, what got you to 200 to 300 people won't get you to 1,000. Okay. What got you, 3 consecutive AFC East championships or title, however you want to call it, division wins, titles, ain't going to get you past the divisional round or past the AFC championship game. There's a level that you have to rise to. And I feel like the message he has staying the same, but the actions aren't different. When I hear him, I don't hear accountability. He tries to hold his players to be accountable, but for him, it's like he passes the buck. And if I'm Pagula, I need to hear him own it. Like, yo, I messed this up. I need to be better. It's not the players, it's me now. I need to change what I've been doing. In the first couple of years, McDermott, I felt like he had that, right? He had that where he would say, that's on me. I just haven't heard that in a while. It's always something else. After that, he said, "Oh, we're close." Like I don't. I mean, what is he supposed to say? I just like, dude, I don't want to hear it anymore.
I listened to his interview yesterday, and when people, so the difference of opinion that I have is the media and the way they ask questions. They ask questions to force him to put blame on someone or himself. And so instead of and I listened to the interview, and Mookie had a question about a certain play call. And it was the 3rd and 4. They came out in cover 4, and he asked him what they came out in, and he actually answered it. Hey, that is a play call that I would like back, because they came out and they ran something that was perfect fit to beat the defense that I called. And so if you're asking him specifically about certain things, he's been able to take that criticism and put that on himself when it's about certain play. But our media does go in there and try to, so like just for an example, when they came out after the Patriots game, when we a few years back, the Cold Bowl, whatever they called it, and they asked Jordan if it was embarrassing that they gave up 100 and some rushing yards, whatever, when they gave up a total of 17 points. Like, these questions are directed to make you say, yeah, we did this, yeah, we did that, even though the overall performance was well. So like I'm not too sure. And yeah, you're true. That's correct, Matt. That is media everywhere, but the way you answer questions changes based off the questions that they're asking you. Early in McDermott's career, they didn't try to place blame on him, the media. That's why he was able to be more like focused, and he was able to say, yeah, that was on me, and just say everything and be more open. But as of late, when he's been on the hot seat, they've been trying to make him answer questions in a way that makes him look bad. And so, as far as answering questions, I don't know what questions he answers to Pagula, and I would like him to say that those type of things that you were talking about to Pagula one-on-one, if that's the thing. I don't need to hear that publicly. I would like to see that done.
Right.
As far
I would
as,
like to see the
his
change.
actions. Yeah. So like, I don't need to hear the public answers to him for him the way that he's been coaching or whatever. I don't need to hear that. I would like to see it. Just like with Josh, I didn't need to hear his talk during his slump for the 6 out of the first 10 games here. I saw the change the last 2 weeks. And so, yeah.
But let me say something about the media real quick. They're asking the right questions. I'm going to tell you why. It's because Sean deflects a lot of the questions that they were asking before and getting the same results. So I don't think they're trying to make him look bad. They're trying to get him to like be real and say it. Say, hey, take some accountability. I think that's all they're trying to get at him. Get some accountability. The fans want answers. Like, yo, the fans want answers.
That's the way it looks. And from a fan's perspective, you do want an answer to some of these questions, but the media is asking these specific questions the reason I know this is because they'll ask the players these too. It's not just the coaches. They'll ask players certain questions to make them put fault on somebody in particular. Like when they asked Gabe whose fault it was between Josh and Gabe, like that is a question set up to make him put blame on Josh or put blame on himself. The way Gabe answered it was absolutely the way you should answer it. The way Joe Brady answered it is absolutely the way you should answer it. Now, Sean also deflects,
so tell them what Gabe said, the reply that Gabe had. Tell them what he said.
Gabe said that it was on both of us, that we weren't on the same page, that we both need to be on the same page, regardless of who was right or wrong on the choice made. So, and Joe said it's on me to get everybody in the same page, which I love those two answers.
Right.
I do. And Sean does give those answers sometimes, but when you ask Sean about certain things and you're asking him to place blame on his players, he's gonna deflect those answers in certain areas of where that he actually believes that those are the wrong. Most of the time he's gonna deflect those answers because he doesn't want to place blame on a certain player, or like, I mean, there's some things that aren't his fault, that the special teams guy having 12 guys out there, that's not like that. It's gonna fall on him. It's gonna fall on Sean for sure because he's the head coach, but that is a special teams coordinator's job, is to have 11 guys out there. That's why he's there. And so he's not going to sit there and say, our special teams coordinator needs to have 11 guys out there.
Yeah. This is a great comment by Greg here. Greg Presty, appreciate you listening to the show and watching. Nothing changes. 2 years after 13 seconds, and he still can't manage the clock or timeouts. He ain't wrong. And I think that's the thing what people are frustrated with, man. Like, Bills Mafia, you have every right to be frustrated with what you see in the product that you're witnessing. After an all-world performance by Josh Allen, like, dude.
If Josh hits Gabe there, do we talk about Sean's ability to manage the game at the end of it?
I think we talk about his scheme. But Josh did it.
But that's what I'm saying. But if Josh hits that touchdown, we're talking about, damn, it was a great coach game. We called the timeout at the end of the game.
Not here.
Well, that's not how you'd feel about it, but as a nationally or as a Buffalo area, because we win the game, it changes the way you look at it for the majority of fans. And
but we didn't.
Right. And so, but that's the difference. The difference of winning and losing is hitting Gabe right there at the end of the touchdown, or calling a different play on that 3rd and 4 to stop them, to keep them in field goal range to get the ball back. Like, it's little instances throughout the game that can change, and it was in the entire Cook dropping the touchdown pass, the 2 missed field goals, little instances that change the outcome and changes the narrative. And so
I see what you're saying, but here's the deal. If that was a one-off situation, I'd be like, you know what? I'll give him grace on that. Like, it wasn't your best day in the office. Cool. But it happens far too often. That's the thing. That's the frustrating part. So where all the grace meter that he once had in that situation.
What specifically happens?
13 seconds.
Okay,
we can look at this season. We can look at this season and go, yo, Sean, like, the 0 blitzes. My man called a 0 blitz. Okay. and he let Jalen Hurts run in the end zone for 12 yards to break the game. It's the schematical things that bother me so much.
So you're
along with his poor clock management and other things.
You're specifically talking about the way people look at the end, his last drive, the way he calls the last game-winning drive of games. That's specifically like what people feel that needs to change, and that hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. How about adjustments going in the second half in the Eagles game this past Sunday? Like he got outcoached. He got outcoached by Brian Johnson, who's a young offensive coordinator. Come on, man. Like Sean is supposed to be. Hold on. Sean's supposed to be this defensive guru. And all I'm saying is when the lights shine the brightest, he's nowhere to be found. That's the problem.
Okay. So if we look at the touchdowns in the fourth quarter, which there were 7 points in the first three. We look at the touchdowns in the fourth quarter. There was the long drive they had, good touchdown in the fourth. You gave up 14 points, cool. And then the next touchdown, Micah Hyde, 3rd and 15, Micah Hyde needs to win a 50-50 ball in the end zone. It's 3rd and 15. You stop him, it's a field goal. So, those plays you trust Micah Hyde to go out there and make. And he didn't make it. And it is what it is. Like that I can't place that on Sean. Then our offense turns the ball over on our own 20-yard line. And then they get another touchdown. And then they drive and kick a 60-yard field goal to get the 3 points. So if we actually break down, rather than just looking at what he's given up, if we break down what happened in that game, he gave up 2 long drives for touchdowns as a play caller. And then the rest of the time, it was we were in our end zone, or our defense didn't make a play that he put us out there to execute.
Then explain lining up 6-7 yards off the line of scrimmage, giving these soft zone coverages underneath, like the 3rd and 4th that we're talking about, where he has Tyrell Dodson in coverage on Devontae Smith. That's supposed to guard the flat.
He
Slow Tyrell Dodson.
It was a cover 4. They were running cover 4, and Rasul has the ability to leave his man and come up and intercept that ball the same way that what's his name did to Josh on that short out route. They ran a perfect called play to the boundary to beat that. Now, do I agree with the cover 4? No, but you're trying to keep them in certain positions to not score a touchdown and to kick a field goal. That's why being up 3 points is not ideal, because you have to keep them out of both. And then the cover 0.
Question. On the cover 4. Why do you need to play cover 4? Who on that offense, outside receivers? Devontae Smith is not a burner, and neither is A.J. Brown. So why don't you play man defense in that situation on a money down? 3rd
because
and 4.
It's 3rd and 4, and you're also looking for run. So you have to have Dotson out there. Now, if you wanted to play man, you would prefer dime out there, and Dotson can't cover a slot. So and I'm
off the field.
For who? Dorian can't cover a slot either.
Look, they put Poirier down in the box and play linebacker.
It's dime, and I'm saying you're asking
You're
Jordan.
making excuses for Sean.
I'm not. I'm looking at the entirety of the game. So you put Jordan in the box. You're playing a 2-man box with Jordan and Bernard, and when they can still run the football on 3rd and 4. So you're asking Jordan to come up and make a linebacker play in the B gap. And then you're also asking them to cover a slot at the same time. That's my point, is that they can also run the football on 3rd and 4. Whereas if it was 3rd and 7, you would have brought your dime in and played a better coverage.
Let them run it.
Hell no. We would have had the same arguments. We would have had the same, like, dude, what are you thinking bringing dime in on 3rd and 4? Like, we would have had the same exact arguments.
It's a cakewalk, man. It's let's talk about the playoff game last year. It's the same idea where free access throws for Joe Burrow all day. It's the Bengals game a few weeks ago. Free access, 0 blitz. It's Jacksonville when 0 blitz, and then you put Micah in coverage, and then Calvin Ridley catches a pass on the right sideline for 17 yards or whatever it was. It's all I'm saying is, schematically, he's got to be better. He has to be better. And I'm not giving him a pass on that.
I think that the defense that he came in with, the defense that we sit here and we applaud when it works and we don't when it doesn't, is this bend but don't break mentality of a defense. And then he gets a little aggressive and calls cover 0 in positions where I don't agree with. By the way, I don't agree with his cover 0 calls because it puts people in bad positions. And so But the rest of the time he's playing a shell and it's a bend but don't break defense, which means you put yourself in a position to win at the end of games if your offense doesn't turn the ball over. That's
But
like the
it's
mentality.
not working. That's the problem.
But
It's not working.
it hasn't worked with Dorsey because Dorsey wasn't putting ports on the board. Now, yesterday, you're playing against a good offense that took what they were given, and their quarterback was scrambling late in the game and moving the ball. So, and it doesn't work, and it doesn't work against that team. And the way he called it, he got out chess match on the last drive. But the majority of that game, his defense played good. His defense played a good ball game, and we should have been up 27-7 at halftime, and not 17-7 at halftime. There's a lot of ways we lose that game. We just lost them all. I mean, excuse me, there's a lot of ways we could have won that game. We just lost them all. We just didn't make plays on all the plays that we could have had to win that game. And I'm trying not to be so visualized on this one Philadelphia game and not look at the entirety of the season.
And that's fair. I mean, you got to look at the entirety of the season. And when you look at the entirety of the season, you see a theme that has been happening that I don't like. And I'm telling you, regardless if, it's a different story if you have Daquan and you have Matt, but you don't. But schematically, it needs to be, like when are we going to say, you know what, Sean outcoaches dude? When was the last time we said that? And I'm not talking about wins against the Jets or, people you got to beat. When was the last time we said, you know what, Sean outcoached them boys today? Well, I haven't said that in a while, man.
The Dolphins game, bro.
What was the catalyst of the Dolphins game? And guess who was there in the Dolphins game? That was before London. So you had Matt and you had Daquan.
Okay, so he had his
and
whole
the offense
team.
and the offense balled out that day.
So he had his whole team, and he outcoached Mike McDaniel, who was putting up 37 points a game, and whether or not
everything go right for you that day.
No,
everything has to go right for him that day. Tell me another time.
Not everything was going right for him that game. Not like that they still scored 20 points. We're playing against a really good offense. We just had our full team. To say that everything's going right because we have our entire team, and then say when we don't have our entire team that no, you got to take full accountability and you don't get the built-in excuse that
well, it sounds like you want McDermott around for a long time and you love his scheme. So
I just don't think it changing him. I think his scheme can win. I think it has to.
It wins.
Be complementary.
It doesn't win in the prime time. It doesn't win in crunch time. It's not winning. The foundations of it is good.
It won against Lamar in the playoff game.
And Lamar got a concussion in the third quarter.
Our defense kept him to 7 regardless. Like they kept him to 7 through the third.
Okay. What about Kansas City?
Kansas City was the best offense that we had ever seen.
No.
Kansas City offense was the best offense we've ever seen.
Stop, because we see the Bengals beat the Chiefs. The Bengals can beat the Chiefs with Lou Anarumo. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we acting like? Why are we acting like? This is the problem with the fan base, man. Is that nobody wants to hold Sean accountable, and we all take up for his shit. And I'm telling you right now, it's trash. It's trash.
I hold Sean accountable. I'm also gonna fight the millions of fans that want to put all the blame on Sean. I don't agree with that.
Where do we place the blame? We got rid of Dorsey. Where do we place the blame?
It's on everybody. Now, Dorsey was a big problem because our offense wasn't doing anything before he left. But the blame is on everybody. It's not just on Sean. It's not just on the defensive players. It's not just on Josh. It's not just on the O-line. It's not just on the wide receivers. It's on everybody that's playing in that game. There's things every Cook had a touchdown catch, dropped it, and that sit here and goes out of our mind. Nope, that's on McDermott. The loss on McDermott, even though we should. Like that's what would now if I was arguing against people, like if nobody in the fan base wanted to put blame on McDermott, which is not the case, everybody wants to place the blame on McDermott. I would probably sit here and say, you know what, McDermott probably deserves some of the credit too. But because he's getting 90% of the blame from everybody in the fan base, I'm gonna sit here and say that blame deserves to go everywhere. That's not just on McDermott, it's on everywhere. Everywhere. There's not one player in that game last night that besides the O-line. I'll say besides the O-line.
Obviously, you can people can take pieces of pie, right? But Sean gets the biggest pie to me. They lost.
So
because of Sean.
Gabe and Josh Gabe and Josh don't get the biggest.
How much more can you ask of Gabe and Josh in that game?
Throw
Seriously.
to the right, and
No.
You know,
I'm not saying they have to be flawless. They carried the Bills, did they not? And I don't even like Gabe, but they carried them.
The plays. You talk about the 3 quarters. If you want to talk about the entirety of the game with Josh and Gabe, and then not leave out the last play, then we can't just focus on the last possession of Sean, because there was a lot of great defense by our defense the first 3 quarters when we kept them to 7. So if you want to look at the entirety, Josh and Gabe need to hit that for game. That's what good quarterbacks
for sure. They need to hit that.
So I'm saying that's a win, and that's a win right there. We're not even.
But we're happy. I'm still talking about, even if they hit that, I'm still like, yo. And I've said this on the show this season about how Sean calls games. So it's not like I'm just speaking out of my ass here and just saying, well, Sean. I've been saying this, have I not?
For the entirety of the season.
So we had
a difference of opinion. We've had a difference of opinion. I put the blame solely on Ken Dorsey, which we would be 9-3 right now if it was
a lot of the blame went on Ken Dorsey when the offense was looking like shit.
And factually too, like Ken Dorsey left, and now we're dropping 30 bombs. Like that's so like
crazy, right?
Against good defenses. So
isn't that funny? Because people are like, well, you can't blame you can't put the blame on Ken Dorsey. It's Josh Allen. What are you talking about? So Josh Allen's regressing. We heard that so much.
So if we just go based off of like after Ken left these 2 games, am I happy? Did Sean coach a great game? No, he didn't. Is there a lot of plays out there that everybody can have back that could have won the game? There's a lot. There's many. And so I'm trying to be more open, and this is why I'm saying like he's not going to get fired, because throughout the rest of these next 5 weeks, or I guess 6 counting this bye week for us, it's going to show whether or not Sean deserves to stay or not. And I have the way I see this offense right now, they go 5-0 over this next 5 games.
Well, so I hope they do.
That's the way that I've seen the offense, and then the way the defense has played for the majority of that's a 5-0 roster. If you take this last 2 games offense and what the defense has put up for the entirety, that's 5-0 against teams that have been playing subpar, to be honest. Like other than the Cowboys, Kansas City's been playing subpar. Like, I mean, they're winning, sure, but you know what I mean?
Let Sean be the reason the Bills lose the game, and I'm coming unglued.
Yeah, I mean, if Sean is like the reason that they lose one of these next 5, then and you lose it in the way, and you your defense is giving up 30, 40, whatever, then Sean's probably not gonna be here at the end of the year. If you don't make the playoffs and it's solely based off of the way Sean's coaching, you're probably not gonna see him next year. But I do think that they're going to win the next 5 games, and Sean's going to be here, and we're going to go into the playoffs as a very dangerous team. I think we win the East if we win the next 5. So the Dolphins have the Cowboys, Ravens, us to end the season, and they're terrible in December and January. So I mean, I think we win the East, and then we're not even having this discussion about Sean come the end of.
I love this and what you're saying is true, right? I hope that's the case. I love this comment by Walter. I'm failing to understand the worth of our defensive guru head coach when we're talking about needing a little bit more from our 31-point, 500-yard offense. And he makes a point. Like Sean talks about complimentary football. Okay.
Throwing an interception on our side of the field is not complimentary football.
Okay. But
the whole point of our defense is to make teams drive the length of the field and hold them to a field goal. Now, because of Micah not being able to make that play, that doesn't hold the team to a field goal. Because we threw an interception on our 20-yard line, that they're on our 20-yard, a good offense is on our 20-yard line set to score a touchdown. Jalen Hurts he had 180 yards with 37 points. So it's not like he's out here dicing up our defense. The running game, you give something up. You give something, they're going to run the ball. They're going to take up long. They had a few long runs. And for the majority of that defense, the way we've played defense for years is we're going to make them drive the length of the field, and we want to try to keep them to a field goal. And there was a few plays by some of our defensive players that wasn't able to do that. And I can't put that on McDermott, on Micah not being able to do that at that time.
Yeah. No, man, we can we can beat this drum. I mean, it needs to be talked about, and you make some great points. And I feel like, some of the things that I said tonight, it resonates, right? The simple fact of the matter is offense needs to marry defense, right? This team needs to come together for once and not have these blunders. Like they got to, from the coaching staff to the players, they got to start winning these close games to where, as a fan base, we're not sitting here saying we're going to unravel, right? Yeah. Josh needs to hit that throw with Gabe. Okay. Right. Like, but Sean needs to step up, man. Sean needs to step up.
At the end of games, like, our team has not been, I mean, when we've had a and I'll say this, when we've had a 4-point lead plus at the end of games, we've been very good. I don't know we've lost a game with a 4-point lead at the end of games. I think we had 3 against the Patriots. If you go back to depths of this team and Sean McDermott, I don't know if we've lost many games with the defense on the field with a 4-point lead. So I would like to see them coaching to get to that position with a 4-point lead, rather than having a 2-point, 3-point, 4-point lead, like 2-point, 3-point, 1-point lead, or having the offense on the field to having to go down and score a touchdown at the end of games rather than just a field goal. Like we're always on the bad side of the score when it comes to having to keep a team to more than 3 or less than 3.
Yeah.
And we're always on the bad side of the score, and offensively too. Like, we always have to go down there and kick and get a touchdown rather than just being able to kick field
goals. But Tyler Bass, he's sucking this year. Like, that's a problem. I can place just as much blame on Tyler Bass.
Tyler Bass has 2 games where he probably where we could win the game if.
Come on, man! Like, your job is to kick the ball straight.
I mean, that's not. It was a monsoon, and the fact that the dude hit a 60-yarder just makes it worse for Bass. But that's a hard.
I don't care. People do it. Justin Tucker does it.
He did it. The dude Elliott did it, and that's. I mean, it's
Elliott,
elite kick.
Come on, man.
That's
like
an elite
they're paying you. Like he just got the bag. I'm gonna need him to show up and do his job. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he has to be perfect, but man, like, when does our team rise up when the chips are down in these critical moments and we come out on top? We're due for that, and I need to see that. So I hold all their asses accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just tired of having the same conversation over and over and over again. Freaking coaching staff, bro. That's the last place. That's the last place I want to have these conversations with the coaching staff.
Yeah,
I'd rather talk about the players not measuring up. But you got a defense that's ragdolled, barely pieced together, and you got a head coach that's not helping you win, man. That's to me, that's the problem, dude. So,
in that specific game,
yeah,
you have a defense that's pieced together and a head coach that, and then also you had a quarterback receiver that could have, for the win. But for the previous 6 games before that, it was our offense. Mm-hmm. So trying to place the blame specifically on that last game and putting Sean McDermott for the entire season on the hot seat.
He gets it all to me. I'll throw it all, the whole pie at that dude.
So it just went from Ken Dorsey, who actually was the problem, to just putting it all on
Sean's
because we lost to the best team.
Sean's a problem too. Sean was a problem too. Even when Ken was getting it, Sean was getting it too.
Our defense was playing well when Ken was here.
Bro, explain Jacksonville.
We gave up 25 points to a really
good Cincinnati.
Wait, are you saying that because we had a conversation about the Jacksonville game
in critical moments? Sean,
we gave up 3 points to Cincinnati in the second half.
How much zero blitzing? I mean, and I'm hanging my hat on that, but how much? Like, Sean, show up. You're the defensive guru. Show up.
No. Our offense didn't score a touchdown until the 4th quarter against Jacksonville, and then we gave up 3 points in the second half to the.
And Bengals. I also said that Ken was the problem too. But okay, Sean, it's not like, hold on, you're trying to separate the two. You're trying to say that, okay, well, it was all Ken, and now it's some of Sean. No, Sean has been doing the same shit for a couple years now. We're seeing the same stuff, the same results. It's insanity, right? Doing the same shit and expecting different outcomes equals insanity. What we're seeing right now, we're tipping insanity, because I'm tired of having this conversation.
The fourth quarter against the Broncos, we stopped the team and we had 12 players on the field on the kickoff. So we would have won the game if we don't have 12 players on the field goal block. So, I mean, we got to stop, and it didn't matter because we
Okay,
had 12.
okay. So
The Patriots game is unacceptable. That's the one game that they had that I will say that's unacceptable. The Patriots game. Mac Jones cannot drive the field and score. Jalen Hurts driving the field and scoring a touchdown. He's a great quarterback. That with a great offense like that. It's a chess match, and you lost the chess match to a great team. So like I'm trying to separate games because Ken Dorsey didn't give us anything for the first 10 games of the season other than Washington and who was the other team that we smacked up? Washington and the Dolphins. And he didn't give us anything outside of that. And so the Jets game we should have won. We scored 17 points. Like there's a lot of blame on Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, they all get it. No, I feel you. I just hope moving forward. I mean, we got to wrap the show up here because Code of Conduct's next. We got it. Just I don't want to have this conversation, man. Like, just start winning games. Win the close games that you need to win. Like beat Kansas City, beat the Cowboys. Do that, please. Like, I don't want these blunders, these missed opportunities. I'm sick of it, man. Just capitalize.
McDermott's 6-0 coming out of the bye. I expect it to be 7-0.
Let McDermott be the reason this next week.
No, McDermott's
with a whole week to prepare for the Chiefs.
McDermott's 6-0 coming off a bye. I'm not even putting that in there. We're going to come out here and beat the shit out of the Kansas Chiefs, and it's going to look dominant. And people are going to start getting on the bandwagon, and then we're going to play Cowboys and have a good, clean game. It's going to be a close one. We're going to win, and then it's going to be downhill from there. It's going to be like tumbling a snowball downhill, and we're going to run over the last 3 teams that we play in this season. Absolutely.
All right. Well, you're listening to the Chop Up right here on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast feed. It's been a good show. Just fleshing this stuff. I hope this show was therapy for you guys as it was for me. Make sure you keep it locked and loaded right here on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast feed. I'm your host, Sterls for the Girls, with my dude, All Bro Poe. It's been a real one, my friend. But you know what? We gotta say go Bills, and we out of here.
I need it up front. Can't tell me, cause I do what I want. Self-made everything, you know we gon' stun. You know that we eat and it's looking like lunch. So I tell them that I need it up front. Can't tell me, cause I do what I want. Self-made everything, you know we gon' stun. You know that we eat and it's looking like lunch. So I tell them that I need it. Everything around my whole team, though. You ain't getting money, you ain't never seen, though. Tell me where the cash at, I tell you where the stash at. I've been getting to it so long.